Aquarius, welcome to your end of May 2019 General Tarot Update. And it's Raina here. I was, shuffling these cards, and it felt like there were like too many of them, so I was like looking down to see if there were two decks that I was holding them. These are the Wild Unknown Tarot cards, just in case you were interested in them. And I've been noting how I love the drawings because there's variation, and they're pen and ink, so that's kind of different than a lot of the decks that we have out here that are more elaborate. There's like a simplicity in these lines that I just find very appealing. Okay. The heart of the matter is the Daughter of Cups, which is the Page of Cups. See, I love the water and all that. And the Page of Cups connects to Pisces. You do have on the top there the Ace of Cups as well. This could be like a new relationship with somebody, and it may be a situation where you almost feel childlike, like, a song came into my head, I've never known love like this before, type of thing. And I think I was looking through my videos, and I think I had one of yours recently where I said soulmate. And we do have the Ace of Cups in the spiritual position. I'll get to that in a minute. So that could definitely qualify. Coming from the Ten of Pentacles, which is a card of money, of affluence, and of even like business. So if you come from a background of accounting or some other type of banking, investments, and you are entering a totally different field, and it's like a healing profession, there might be a stark contrast in that, but it could be like what is meant to be. I think some people don't know that Aquarius is actually associated with psychic gifts and even astrology, as a matter of fact, which we would call maybe the occult or metaphysical pursuits, but not necessarily psychic, because we're it's one of those things where it's kind of like the divining tools, like the tarot and astrology, but is the person who's doing it psychic? Well, some people may call themselves psychics. I don't call myself a psychic, but I feel like Aquarius is a sign that has natural intelligence, but also a very strong intuition. And this can and a love of astrology sometimes, and things along those lines, maybe especially unusual types of topics that connect with spiritual things. So you may be getting more involved with that, and it's almost like turning your back on a fortune. And the Ten of Pentacles, it doesn't mean necessarily that it's like, $1 million, but it could be that there was like some kind of, even like through family, some kind of business, and now you have really, because you decided to do your own thing. But this is coming from the heart. This is important to you on an emotional level or a spiritual level. And sometimes, excuse me, it may be something that you just don't vibe with spiritually, that you're trying to distance yourself from. It reminds me of this man who, named John Robbins, whose father was the from Baskin Robbins, the ice cream company, and this son became a vegan, and he totally turned his back on the family fortune because he didn't want any part of that. And that was quite a challenge, I'm sure. I'm sure it's a temptation. The Ten of Pentacles can be quite a temptation to go down that road or keep going down. I can't remember if he ever worked there. But he just said, no, I'm doing my own thing. And so the higher message, I don't know what's going on with my voice there. The higher message is the Ace of Cups, and this is like, to me, Page, Daughter of Cups, and Ace of Cups are similar in that it's talking about the beginning stages of something. And with the Ace of Cups, it's like embarking upon maybe this new spiritual journey. Maybe, at a higher level, you're at a stage where maybe you're less concerned with worldly matters. Oh, yeah, I was trying to think, okay, what's going on with Aquarius, astrologically, and you do have a whole bunch of stuff in your 12th house right now. You have the South Node, you have Pluto and Saturn. So it kind of I think it puts a little bit of pressure on a person when they have like these long-term transits in the 12th house to really overhaul their life in a spiritual kind of a way, and spiritual discipline, as well as like kind of burning off karma, however you would even do such a thing. But like I was talking about with John Robbins, he probably burned off karma by going his own way when it came to his father, because I'm sure that was quite a temptation. And so you may get you may have gotten some temptations, Aquarius, to kind of like follow the world, and this may have strengthened your spiritual faith. What crosses you is the Empress, and this is associated with Taurus and Libra by way of Venus. And that's one of the cards where I can't figure out why they have that particular depiction. So the Empress in the upright position is about sensuality and the pleasures of the flesh, and not in a devil card kind of way, and just like being a child of the senses, being somebody that, especially with Taurus, I see this, really reveling in the material world and the pleasures that it can offer. Again, I'm getting a spiritual vibe. The Ten of Pentacles is in the past position. So it's really this gravitation towards more soulful pursuits. And if you are like changing careers right now, Aquarius, you may even feel this sense of like, how can I put it? Just a pull towards anything that is, even if it doesn't make a fraction of what you used to make monetarily, that you are willing to do that. Because the Ten of Pentacles is like affluence. So whatever that means to you, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be $1 million, but it can be, I'm thinking of the United States now, like a 6-figure income, which for many people would be, they are living a very nice lifestyle. Depending on where you live, there might be places where it's just middle class, but it just is that kind of, where you have like more than you need and you're enjoying things. And the Empress is about enjoying the fruits of your labor, I think. And yet, you're turning your back on that because there's something that you may feel you came here to do, and you can't do that through whatever that work was. And so you have to kind of like, so it's like this, it could be like this temptation that you have to really avoid. And also, in terms of relationships, I mean, the Ten of Pentacles could be like a Capricorn or maybe a Taurus, because Taurus squares off to you. Virgo's the other earth sign. And there may be like a sexual attraction to this person. Maybe that's what the Empress is representing. But it's not necessarily a love, a true love. But that person may try to come back to you. And you may be tempted to take them back, or at least have some fun with them. And then you don't realize what a price you pay till it's too late. What's coming in, or the advice, is the Five of Cups. This is a card of mourning the loss of something. It's, it's funny because in this reading, I don't see like the same kind of grief that I associate the Five of Pentacles usually with. I think it might be that if you are really changing big time, Aquarius, that you may even have to like give up certain relationships because you're just in a different place. And that can feel sad because, it's kind of like the end of an era. And therefore you are, it's not necessarily nostalgia, but you just are not necessarily your fixed sign. So you're kind of like coming from a place of, I want that stability. And any kind of change, even if it's necessary change, can feel a little bit difficult. But I think that it's one of those temporary things where you just have to, grieve it, and maybe you're acting like it's not mattering, and your spirit guides or whatever are saying, no, actually, this is difficult for you, and it is sad for you, so just admit it and move on. Because you, like I said, you may be coming from a totally different life. Now, this is funny because this is not, this is like a reading for the end of May, and yet what I'm talking about is a big shift in your whole, where you've been and where you're going. So this may actually not come about until that lunar eclipse in Capricorn on July 16th. And don't be too stuck on that date because it might, come before then in terms of like affecting you or after. But in that time frame. And this is going to be in your 12th house, a lunar eclipse. So it could be very, very, purging but enlightening at the same time. And yet it's like the past is gone. And I was just thinking today, there were a few people that were legends who died in the last 24 hours. And sometimes lately I've been thinking about certain things and thinking how sad it is. Not for the people that die, but just for the way that the things that we love get, totally, they're totally gone. And it's almost like they never existed. And there's something, I think there is something sad about that, because it makes us feel like it's all an illusion, which I guess it kind of is. But by the same token, it really is some, memories that we have, and we know that at one time these things were real to us and very important to us. And so I think that's what I would say about the Five of Cups is don't diminish your feelings. If you feel that life is, in a very strange place for you, own it and just feel it fully. Don't run away from it, and just kind of say, wow, what am I feeling? And I did this the other day, and I was thinking, what is it about this particular situation that makes me feel sad? And I really kind of like inquire about myself. And it's actually very helpful to kind of allow yourself to kind of catch up to your higher self in a way, because there's a part of us that always is aligned with God, that always is, that never stops being. And that part is our higher self, but we're not always aligned with our higher self. And so sometimes we feel like everything is out of whack, and all we have to do is contact that. Speaking of which, here's the outcome. The High Priestess is contacting the higher self. Now this is another card I don't get. Why they have a tiger with a crystal ball. What made them say, hey, let's put a tiger there? That'll, make perfect sense for the High Priestess. But the crystal ball does. But anyway, this is another card that makes me think that you are developing, honing your psychic gifts, Aquarius. And this could be through some kind of training or some kind of business that you are starting. And this is like a perfect time to do that, because with Saturn in the 12th house, Saturn wants to make this house that Neptune rules, that is so, it's like being on an acid trip, because it's just totally, it's like you're merging with the cosmos. It has nothing to do with the opposite house, the 6th house of routines, schedules, organization. It's all about astral projection and all that stuff. It's not, it's dream time. And so this is the house of that psychic. The High Priestess would be quite comfortable in the 12th house. I don't know if they have any resources where they connect the cards with different houses of the astrological houses of the zodiac, but I would imagine that the High Priestess would totally hang out in the 12th. And because Saturn is in that 12th house until I think sometime in 2020. This is before you start a new Saturn cycle with Saturn in your sign. This is a time to do kind of Saturn-y things that relate to spirituality. So it could be starting a business that's spiritually based. It could be having a routine for meditation and or other types of, Hatha yoga is... You could say that's meditation, but more physical level. And things like that. And establishing that side of life when there's a big focus on it. And so, I definitely see here some kind of, I don't know if I call it a battle, but definitely a line in the sand drawn between the material and the spiritual. And, it's interesting. You probably know your ruler is Uranus, but how many of you know that your ruler is also Saturn? And with your ruler in the 12th house, it's exploring 12th house matters. And these things are not, even if you take a course in meditation or astral projection, it's experiential, if I'm pronouncing that right. It's not about theories. It's about practice and about consistent practice in order to really calm your mind, get your mind in a state of consciousness where it transcends the cerebral functions. Aquarius is an air sign, so it does tend to be quite brainy, but by the same token, perhaps a bit too abstract, too concerned with concepts, and not really valuing the intuition as much as it should. And so one of the reasons I'm letting you know about this, Aquarius, is that if you tend to be that kind of person who is quite analytical, and that has maybe given you a certain blockage for your intuition, you have to be very conscious about that pattern so that you can change it, and stop needing to prove everything, but just going, I was going to say going along with the program. That's not what I mean. Going with the flow. That's what I meant. And kind of like, stopping that need for proof on a gross matter level. And yeah, so that's what I have for you. I know that's weird. All of this is weird, but I think weird is good for Aquarius, so I think I'm solid with you guys. So if you would like a personal reading of any kind, my website is rainamoonastrology.com, and I have a link below. I do wish you a great end of, God, I was going to say August, but May. Aquarius. I think maybe I was thinking of Aquarius. So I hope you have a good rest of the month. Take care. Bye.